Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today we will see more in depth how to create a unit test for Bash scripts. So this video is part of the series about Bash best practices, but you don't need to watch the whole series before watching this video. What I would recommend you to watch though is the video just before this one, which is about Bash unit testing basics. And then, this video should appear in one corner of your screen. And then you can watch this one to really understand whatever's happening. Or you can just watch this one as well if you want. I mean, I'm not here to tell you what to do and what not to do. Just advice and yeah. So, we have here a script which is called backup.sh, which can mirror one directory to another directory, which means that if you need to do some backups of your documents, for example, you can mirror the directory documents on an external hard drive, and whatever you're doing in documents, like creating or deleting files, when you run this script, the mirror of your documents directory will create or delete whatever you did. So it's a very quick way I'm using to back up all my data, basically, because you don't need to copy everything all the time. It just acts on what you did after your last backup. So to illustrate that, we have 4 directories here, and I will delete testdata because it will come later. But we have destination, source, destination 2 and source 2. So source should be what we want to save, destination should be the mirror of source, and source 2 should be again what we want to save, and the mirror of source 2 should be destination 2. To describe that to our script, we have a CSV, which is called dear.csv, and basically it says, hey, source should be the source, destination should be the mirror of source, and the same for source 2 and destination 2. And how it works, so quickly first I will show you what's in those directories. So you can see in source and source 2 you have a bunch of stuff. In destination 2 we have nothing. And how works the script is that you need to call it, and you need to call it with the CSV. And now if you look at the source and destination directories again, you see that everything was copied from source to destination and from source 2 to destination 2. If I delete my file in source, for example, and I run the script, in destination, my file will disappear as well, will be deleted by the script. All right, so we've created already a bunch of unit tests in the file backup.test.sh. And it's very basic test. Basically, I'm testing the options of the script right now. But what could be more interesting is to really test the core functionality, which is mirroring directories and files. So, how to do that? We have 2 solutions. So first, we could create directly in our shell some dummy data. We could create a source directory like we have here, and a destination directory, and some file in the source directory, and then we could run the script in our test and verify that the files are really in destination. Now, if we do that, the problem is if in one of our tests we begin to delete files, in the other test, after that, the files will be deleted as well, which create weird inconsistency and dependencies between tests, which is never good. Like if you write unit tests with dependencies, stop and ask yourself how you can create unit tests without dependency. Otherwise, it's a mess, and it gets very difficult to know when there is a real error, when there are false positives. So the second solution would be to create everything directly in the script, in the test script. And we can do that with the function setup here. Because thanks to shunit2, the script we use to write unit tests for bash scripts, we can run something each time we run a test. And this something is in the setup function, which is a special function. So what do we want to run? Well, first, it would be nice to have all our dummy directories in one directory, which we can call testdata. So let's create testdata, and let's create other stuff in there, just, you know, to copy them with the script. So here we create the folder, so directory testdata, we create the directory source, we create the directory a folder, a directory more, and we create the directory destination. Cool. Now, to be sure we are consistent, we should delete all the time test data before running any test. So we can do that now. So now we are sure test data has always the same stuff, whatever is created in any of the tests. Next, we can create as well some files. So, for example, a file and a directory, another file. So yeah, here we create a file in the source directory and another file in the directory. Next, we need to create our CSV to describe to the script what we want as a source and what we want as a mirror of the source. So for that, we can create variable to describe the source and the destination. Okay. Last, we need to create our CSV. So we can call it dear.csv. We can put that into another variable. And we can all the time write the same stuff in the dear.csv file, which are our source and destination directory. Okay, so now it's a good beginning to have always the same data in every single test. Now, of course, we need to test. So we could begin by create a little test we could call test destination, for example. And then we can run our script with the file as first argument. And we should put that into quote as well. And we should test if in the destination directory there is, I don't know, some file, to see if the copy really happened. So for example, I could test if the file destination a file exists. Something like that. Okay, so let's run our test now. We didn't verify if our test was working before the new test destination, but I did that for you. And it doesn't work at all. Oh, yeah. mkdir misses an argument which is -p, which means that you can create subdirectory in one command, because otherwise, since testdata doesn't exist, it will return an error like that without this -p argument option. Sorry. So now it should work, I guess. And it doesn't. Why it doesn't work? That's always a question we ask ourselves way too often. So apparently it can't create the files. Let's try again. Yeah, no. Oh yeah, there is a typo. I'm sure you saw it. Yeah, something like that, right? Yeah. And now everything is working, which means that if we do a tree on our test data, indeed, destination and source have exactly the same stuff. And here, it's a very quick test that we test that indeed the A file exists in the destination directory. But we can do a bit better actually than that. And we could, for example, instead of verifying if a file exists, we could verify that there is the same number of files, of entries, let's say, like files and directories into destination and into source. So, for example, we could do assert true. Then we could use find. And count how many results we have if we do that. And I need to do that. If find source is equal to the same but with destination. Something like that. Find source. Just reading again to be sure I didn't make a mistake. Let's try. And it looks like it works too. Very good. So let's do that, which is a bit better. Now we could try as well to test when we delete files this time. Could create test delete file, for example. Then first we should run the script. Like that. Then we should delete a file like that. And now we could take back this line, put it here, but this time source shouldn't be equal, I mean the number of entities, let's say, in source shouldn't be equal to the number of entities in destination because we just deleted something in source. But if we run the script again, this time it should be equal. So there should be exactly the same number of directories and files in source and in destination, because if you run the script again, a file would have disappeared in both source and destination. So let's try. And it looks like it works. And if we look at test data, now the a file disappeared. But since we have the setup function, if I create another, let's say, if I create another test, it should work the same because everything was recreated and a file is again there. So we could try to test is destination a file exists. And I don't need the quote here. I think it would work. So let's run again, and we have many errors. Oh yeah, there is two test destination. Test copy a file. I mean, it's not perfect what I'm doing here, but it's really for, you know, to show you. Doesn't work. And I wonder why. You can see here though that in test data a file came back because the last test was test copy a file, and in this one a file exists. Problem is I don't know why I have an error here. Oh yeah, bash. I just forgot the space, and now everything is fine. So that's all for today. You can find the files as always in the description. Thanks a lot for watching, and I wish you a great rest of your day.